Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of The Handmaid's Tale, Season 5, Episode 7, titled No Man's Land. Now, sometimes, I don't want my opinion to be clouded too much by what I see online or whatever, but I will admit, curiosity got the best of me. Like, I kind of scouted around. Oh, this episode seems really controversial. It seems like some people really like it, and some people really, really hate it. I don't know how much middle ground there is.
Yeah, and that makes complete sense. I mean, Serena has been a villain of this series since the beginning of this. June has been sort of this hero for this whole time. I think, like I even said this in the last video, I don't want to see a Serena redemption arc. I just don't. Then this episode happened, and even with this episode as well done as it was, and the writing as well done as it was, and these two actresses just drive the Emmys up to their house right now because it's a done deal.
Yeah.
I still don't want to see the Serena redemption arc. What I got out of this was more of a, feeling of not understanding, but just a peace inside of June. And so everything that sort of went on with this gave me a lot when it came to June, which is what I had really wanted to see. I just don't think there is redemption for Serena.
And I have a little bit of a theory as to where Serena's story is going to go based on how this episode ended, because I think they're setting up something that won't exactly give Serena this redemptive arc that all of us are afraid of and just frankly do not want. But we will get into, of course, that and a lot more. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We are here after every episode of The Handmaid's Tale to break it down, share some theories, have a good time with all of you. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out.
Yeah, we're also covering House of the Dragon. We've got American Horror Story Season 11. That's starting up this week. So we're going to have reviews on that here at the channel. White Lotus. Anyone out there interested in that? Such a great show. We're going to be covering that here at the channel as well. So hit that subscribe button. Follow us over on our Instagram for just a little bit more at Matt and Jess TV.
So I think let's just start, really big picture here with June, because I think that's where a lot of the questions are. Like, why did June do everything that she did? And this is just my perspective on it. I don't view this episode as sort of her really extending an olive branch to Serena as I do. This is just June proving something to herself and sort of like reaching within her and finding this humanity that she really wants to embrace on some level. And she does that in this case. And Serena is just sort of this person who happens to be there, the personified, worst of the worst.
This is a healing episode for June. June has been going through this with the idea of an eye for an eye. That is going to give me peace. That is going to make me feel better. That is going to be able to be the thing that's going to let me move on. And when it comes to Serena, it's been more complicated for her because, as we saw in this episode, and we have seen in the past, there have been moments on a much smaller level than compared to what Serena has done to her that have given June sort of this little bits of grabbing at her heart where she's like, maybe there's something in there that's not all bad, that maybe if we could get her out of all of this, that it could be turned around. Something that myself and I think a lot of people out there we just don't want to see. I am not here for a Serena redemption arc. But at the same time, they really did build this in such a way, this episode, that was really just focused on these two women. Talking about motherhood, talking about what's happened between them, seeing some of the past where it was like, they were exchanging looks at the birthing ceremony where they were just kind of like, a little bit absurd. Like, there's some absurdity about it. And after the handmaid mother died, that there was looks of, actual sadness between them, including Serena, where we saw some of the other wives being like, oh, yeah, it's a baby. That Serena just understands that life matters. to some degree. Again, Serena has done some things where it's kind of like, okay, she seemingly understands it, but at the same time, Serena's in it for Serena, and she wants to do whatever it takes to get to what she wants. Yeah. We've seen those lengths and the things she's done to June. One of the things I was actually kind of hoping for, and maybe we'll still get it, is I want to know what happened to that first handmaid that she had. Like, did she really unalive herself, or did Serena do something to her? Did Fred do something? Like, that whole household is just so dark that I just want to know what happened there as well.
I think it's important to sort of know the full extent of how Serena sort of went from where she was in some of these flashbacks, where we've seen her uncertain about the idea of having a handmaid, to having to, choose one out, Aunt Lydia, to where she is now. And I think connecting these dots is important. I hope that this is going to be something we see from here on out. So yeah, I think Serena's journey to this point is really, really important. And it kind of brings us all into this nature versus nurture discussion. Is Serena the villain something that existed long before she was an actual villain? Is this a product of her circumstances? Is this something that subconsciously she wanted? I think this is a time to really get into all of this over these next few episodes, especially because I don't really want the construct of these flashbacks to stop right now, just because I think we're actually learning something from them.
Yeah, I think that the scene that really stuck with me was Serena, where she was sort of in this fevered state, and she was just like, yeah, you know what? You need to take this baby. Like, I'm not able to be the person who's, I'm not really welcome anywhere. I can't really go anywhere. But with you, and, Luke is a good man and you're a good mom, like, you will be able to take this baby and make sure that he doesn't turn out doing the types of things that Fred did. And then there was a big pause. I was like, you better take responsibility for your part in this. And she did. And she was like, and the things that I did. And I was like, thank you. Like, that's great. But the thing that I really liked was that Serena, at the end of sort of all of this, where June was kind of, holding the baby or whatever, that Serena did apologize. And June was like, nah, that it doesn't mean anything. You can't say I'm sorry for the things that were done to her. It's got to be more in June's own actions. And that's where she really was like, this is my moment of healing and being able to be the person that I want to be. The revenge isn't working, an eye for an eye isn't working. I want to instead do this, where I'm going to get Serena help. I'm going to get Serena out of here, and she's going to be able to go on and be the person she needs to be so that June can feel healing for herself. It's not a completely selfish act here, guys.
I think what June does is one of the most powerful things I've seen this show do, just because it's really, really hard, I think, for people sometimes to sort of look at a situation, reflect on it, and be like, okay, revenge isn't working. This is something that I want to do, maybe it helps her, but it helps this baby. It helps me. I think I'm willing to give this a try. And I just think it was really earned in that moment for June. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there, maybe you're in the comments already at this point of the video, being like, I just don't believe it. She should have killed Serena. She should have taken the baby. But I think, especially when we kind of get to where this story eventually goes, this all made sense. Like, if this happened earlier in the season, like right after Fred died, I wouldn't have bought it for a second. I would have been really annoyed by it. But I think it really worked in this moment.
Yeah, because, they even had that conversation where Serena was like, why didn't you kill me? I saw you at the Gilead Center. You had a gun. You had the chance to do it. And I had been going through this thinking that the reason she didn't kill her is because she was pregnant. And, it's one thing to kill Serena if Serena's just Serena, but it's another thing to do that while she's pregnant, with someone else. And that turned out to not be the reason. June just really said, I didn't kill you because I just didn't want to do that. And I think that that's really sort of the core of it, where June just hasn't been able to find peace with Serena because she doesn't want to kill her. And that, seemingly worked with the Fred situation, but nothing is working with the Serena situation. However, we get to the end of this. She ends up bringing Serena to the hospital, where everything is seemingly coming together a little bit. There's a better sort of, they're not friends. They're not going to be. There's a little bit more of an understanding. You can see it in June's body language, in the way that she's talking to her, even sort of when they have that moment where they touch hands, that June is starting to feel some peace. And then Luke shows up, who knows that none of this has happened. He is not on the same journey. Yeah. He does not feel any peace.
No, Luke is the guy who was just told off by Serena earlier this season. And I think a lot of the feelings that he was feeling were repressed for a very long time because, he's in Canada. He's sort of isolated from a lot of the situation. He can try to relate to June, but he can't really relate to June.
And his daughter is still down in Gilead.
Yeah, he has gone down his own road. So when he sort of hears about a lot of this and he understands, he is viewing this as an opportunity for direct vengeance. He's viewing it as an opportunity so that he can get something emotionally that he has never gotten from this situation before. And this is where I'm going to put on a tinfoil hat here as we sort of talk about these next couple of episodes, because The Handmaid's Tale, it's a violent, ugly, and sad world. I think we all really know that. And I think the aftermath of this, where it seems as though, immigration authorities are taking Serena away, the baby's being taken away from her, I think in her mind in this situation, all the thoughts and possibilities in the world are going to come in. She's obviously going to blame Luke. If June doesn't help her, she's going to blame June. This is where we have sort of the potential rebirth of the June versus Serena story all over again, where June finds this peace, and yet this peace is still taken away from her.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, after this episode, I feel like that storyline kind of needs to be squashed. And you guys may agree or not agree. You can let me know in the comments. But this episode took me on a journey where I'm kind of like, there's no peace between these women. There's been healing for June. There's seemingly some healing for Serena. That Luke doing this and Serena blaming June is just the same circle that's been going on and on and on and on for 5 seasons, where either June does something and then Serena's mad about it, or June has done nothing and Serena's mad about it. And it's just kind of like, well, when is it time to sort of get out of that carousel and come into some sort of a new storyline? Because as much as and here's going to be my controversial take, much as I know there are people out there that were like, good, you have your baby taken from you. I'm Team Luke. I'm going to sit here and be like, you deserve what you get. I feel what June was feeling of the idea of having your baby taken away, where she was giving that speech about mothers and sort of being like, Noah needs to be with his mother. I know what it's like to have my child taken from me, so I don't want that to happen to Serena, sort of thing. And I don't want that to happen to the baby, because she knows what, is happening to Hannah, what was happening to Nicole, that, as a mother, these children need them. And so I think that that's a more powerful motivation for June to work towards making that reconciliation happen, where I thought I was going to be like, yeah, you deserve this. And I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve this, but the way that they presented it, I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel the way I thought I was going to feel, where I was going to be like, yeah, you get your Serena. I just didn't feel that, which is kudos to the writers for actually being able to turn that around. I just didn't think I was going to get there.
Here is Bruce Miller with the puppeteering equipment. He's just puppeteering.
Bruce, you did it to me.
I know. He's just controlling our emotions. I was totally in the same boat. I really thought I was just going to be, I'm just like, yeah, Serena, you get what you, but it is an interesting sort of feeling at the end of all of this where, I don't feel bad for Serena. She's done so many horrible things, but at the same time, I can still feel like this is not the way that I sort of want things to go. And I also, as much as I presented the tinfoil hat theory, I actually would rather not have June versus Serena for the 100th time. I don't know what Serena's story would be then, but figure it out. The writers are talented.
The writers are very talented. I mean, kudos to the writers, kudos to Bruce Miller, everyone's performances in this. Yeah. This episode, for me, was really one of the best episodes of this season, for sure, hands down. But of the entire show, this is a very rare thing for me where I actually have an episode that's changed the way that I've been thinking for 5 seasons and actually got me into the car and taken the curve and we're going. And that normally doesn't happen to me. So great job. This episode is one of the best of the whole show.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's just like entering this show, we knew Elizabeth Moss was a great actress. We'd seen Mad Men and all that was out there. But Chuck was one of my favorite shows. But Yvonne Strahovski didn't exactly get a lot of material on Chuck that really challenged her. And I love Mass Effect. She voices a character in that as well. But it's this show has really shown me, exactly everything that she can do. And I think this is the best performance she's ever had, maybe in anything I've ever seen.
Oh, hands down. Hands down. She's got the Emmy in the bag.
All right. Well, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any other coverage we have coming up here on The Handmaid's Tale, American Horror Story, all of that good stuff. Thank you for watching. We'll see you here next time.